Hey guys, this is Mrs. Doble coming to you from my office. We're going to talk about how to put together your saxophone today. So, the first thing that you're going to do is take your reed and put it right in your mouth like this with the skinny part on your tongue. Now while you keep your saxophone together, this is going to stay in your mouth the whole time. I'm not going to keep it there because it's hard for me to talk to you while I have that in my mouth, so I'm going to set it aside, but you're going to keep it in your mouth for now. The first part we're going to start with is your neck. That's this long skinny part right here. Okay, see that? And I want you to grab that and your mouthpiece, which is the part that looks like this right here. Okay. The first thing that we're going to do is take your mouthpiece, got the round end here, and what we call the cork on the end. You're going to take that and being very careful with this key that goes right here, you're going to kind of put your hand right over that and twist that mouthpiece right on there. Now, if you are having trouble getting that to go on there and it seems like it is really hard to twist, you can get out your cork grease, which is this little stuff that looks like chapstick, okay? And that just goes right on here. This is good stuff to put on your cork once every month or so, particularly in the winter months because it dries out a lot. And you just put a little bit on there and then rub it right into the cork, and that'll help your mouthpiece go on a little bit easier. Okay, so we're going to twist that on. It doesn't have to go all the way on. About right there is usually good, and you can always adjust it later. Okay, so now that we have our neck and our mouthpiece together, we're going to take the big part of your saxophone, and see this little end cap in here? That's always good to keep in there while you're storing your saxophone in your case. It'll help keep this part right here from bending. So we're going to put it back in our case for now. We'll put it back in there when we disassemble it. So you take the big part of your saxophone, the body, and then you're going to take the neck and put it right on the body. So you have to take this, and if you need to, you can loosen up using these little screws here. Okay, and you put it right in there, and again, you're going to do a little twisting motion. Okay, so if it doesn't go in right away the first time, try and give it a little twist. Okay, and then once it's in there, you'll take those little screws and tighten them up again. Not super duper tight, just enough so that the neck doesn't wiggle around when you're trying to play it. Okay, and then you're going to take your reed, and you've had it in your mouth the whole time. Take it out, and you're going to put it on your mouthpiece. I'm going to turn around so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. Okay, and the reed, you have your ligature on here. If you have the metal kind, the screws go on the right-hand side. Now, if you have the leather kind, we'll get to that in just a second. But if you have the metal kind, you're going to take your ligature and move it up just a little bit, and then tuck the fat part of the reed down here. It goes right under there, and you pull it down so that the top of the reed matches up with the top of the mouthpiece. I'll scooch that in so you can see. Okay, see how it matches up? Then, oops. Once you've got it matched up, you just pull the ligature down, and you can't see it on here, but there's usually a little line on your mouthpiece that runs around here. You want to pull that ligature down below that line so that it's not, you know, all the way up here. And if you need to loosen these screws to do that, okay, go ahead and do that. So we're going to match that up, pull that down, and then all you have to do is tighten your screws, and you're ready to play. Then that little loop on the back of your saxophone is where you're going to hook in your neck strap. Okay. Now, like I said, if some of you guys might have the leather type of ligature, and if you have that kind, probably looks something like this, right? It just has one screw on it. Now, the metal ones, we had the screws go on the front of the mouthpiece, but on the leather one, they go on the back. Okay. So when you have your reed on, that screw will be on the right-hand side, but on the back instead of on the front. Okay? And you might not be able to see this, but there's two little dots that are right on these sides. Okay, those should go on the side of the reed when you put that on. And again, you want to loosen that screw up so that the ligature comes down below that line on the mouthpiece. Okay, then you just tighten that up, and you're ready to go. Now, the reason why we put the reed on last is because that's the most breakable part. It's easily broken. We want to take care of our reeds. So when you take your saxophone apart when you're done practicing, you're going to take that off first. Okay? You can stick it back in its little plastic case, And then you're free to assemble the rest of the saxophone. Now, we go backwards. I like to take the neck off first because that's the second most breakable part of your saxophone. That's easily bent. So we're going to take that off first, and then just like we assembled, we're going to put our hands close together and twist that off. Okay, we'll put all those back in our case. Don't forget about your end cap here. Boop, right back in the saxophone, and then you're good to go. So have fun practicing, and we'll see you next time.